Hello YouTube, welcome to another video on Atlanta to Dallas aviation. And as promised in fleet video number 17 with Alaska Airlines and Horizon, we are now doing episode 18 or number 18 fleet video for American, and both of these fleet videos are courtesy of the fact that I had done the fictional airport Global Alliance International with the One World push. So I already had half of my Alaska out, so I decided to go ahead and do a video for Alaska and Horizon, and then I also had half of my fleet of my collection out for American, so I also figured I would do an American fleet video since I had them, half of them already out, and I needed to rearrange the shelf that they were on for in my display cabinet. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this one. I'm doing this basically smallest to largest. Now some of y'all will probably argue a little bit with the order I have them in if I'm doing them smallest to largest. So I did my best to do this based on number of seats. So there are some, like when we get to the DC-6, there was, when I was doing my research, it did say like max seating of 102 or 104 or something like that, where all I could find for, let's say, what I was comparing it to, I was comparing it to the ERJ 175 LR in the CRJ 900, which both I couldn't find a max number necessarily, but the max number that was on there were both smaller than 100 passengers. So, you know, is the DC-6B for its time bigger than a CRJ 900? I don't know. So when we get to that, you're going to have some argument with me about which one seats more, whether it's in a 2-class configuration, a 3-class configuration, or a 1-class configuration with the most seats you could possibly put in there. So you'll have to just bear with me as far as, you know, the smallest all the way up to the largest. I think the smallest, which is this one, is obviously the smallest. There's no, when you see all the other things that are in my collection, you'll be like, okay, well, you're right. None of anything that you showed me is smaller than this one. So this is the smallest one, and when I get to my largest one, there also is there's no arguing that the largest model for American Airlines that I have is the largest model of an actual aircraft that I have in my collection. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. This is a fairly recent release. It is American Eagle. It's a Bombardier -8-100, and its registration is November 837 Echo X-Ray, and it is a Gemini Jets release in August of 2023. All right, you do not have double vision. I do have two of these, and there's a little story behind them, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you what these are. So this is American Eagle, and originally it was considered American Eagle Airlines. I don't really know if I understand what that means exactly. If there was a subsidiary of American Airlines called American Eagle Airlines. But anyway, so I've got two of these. So their registration number is November 624 Alpha Echo. And they're obviously in their white version of the Scissor Eagle livery. They were released by Gemini Jets under the name brand of Skyliners, and they were released in 2002. And basically, they're the first release of a regional jet. So I didn't know how often I would see even ERJ 145s released. So I wanted to go ahead and get two of these when they were put out. So that's why I have two of these. Like I've said before, I don't typically buy multiples of the same registration number. Now I have sometimes bought registration numbers of the exact same plane with the exact same livery from two different companies, but it was totally by accident, and it was before I kept records of what I already had. So sometimes I got stuck with duplicates, but they were duplicates from two different manufacturers. This was the exact same manufacturer, and I got two of them because it was the very first release of anything resembling regional aircraft. So that's why I have two of these. And they, okay, I do not remember if my research said that they were still flying for sure, but the last known operator of this aircraft was Piedmont Airlines. So the same operator as the Dash 8-100. So as far as I know, Piedmont may or may not still be flying these, and may still be flying them for American Eagle. But anyway, so I got two of those. All right, as you see, my next one is also an ERJ-145LR. This one registration is November 603 Kilo Charlie, and it's operated by Piedmont, and it's in the 2013 livery, and it is a Gemini Jets release in November of 2021. All right, I picked up the wrong one. So I got two of these, but this one was listed second on my list. So sorry, I did these out of order, but this particular model is registration November 510 Alpha Echo. It is a CRJ 700 with the white livery version of the Scissors Eagle livery, and it's currently operated by PSA Airlines. Manufacturer is Gemini Jets, and it was released in May of 2007. So it would have been still wearing this livery when this model was released. Alright, so this is the one I was supposed to pull out first. So this one is obviously a CRJ 700. It may or may, I think it, I'm not positive, but I think American has like their version of this that is like the United CRJ 550. But I'm not absolutely positive that that's the case. So, but the box that this model came in said CRJ 700. It did not say CRJ 500 or anything like that. So this is a CRJ 700. Its registration is November 706 Sierra Kilo, and it is operated by SkyWest, and it is a Gemini Jets release from April of 2022. All right, our next model is an Embraer 175 LR, registration November 233 November, and it is operated by Envoy Air, and it too is in the 2013 livery, or basically current livery. So anytime I'm going to refer to this livery that you see here as the current livery. And it is a Gemini Jets release as of January of 2022. All right, this one's getting a little bit long here. So this one is a Bombardier CRJ 900 with registration November 584 November, and it is operated by PSA Airlines in the current livery, and it's a Gemini Jets release as of April of 2021. All right, here is where we can agree to disagree what is actually bigger, a CRJ 900 or a DC-6B. But anyway, DC-6B is the next aircraft up. McDonnell Douglas, well actually it was probably Douglas Aircraft at the time. So, and its aircraft registration is November 90762, and it's wearing the Astrojet livery, and it is a release from Gemini Jets in April of 2005. All right, now we start to get into what's really the largest airplane in terms of max passengers, and so as far as I could tell, this was the next largest, and this is a Boeing 720. So basically the short version of the 707, and its aircraft registration is November 7536 Alpha. It's an Aero Classics release in 2003. I only have a year for that. It's in the Lightning Bolt livery, and this one's nickname is Flagship Georgia. Yes, Georgia. That's where I'm from. Yes, sir. All right, next in the current livery we have an Airbus A319-100 and with sharklets, and its registration is November 93003, and it is a Gemini Jets release in October of 2022. Next, we have this McDonnell Douglas MD-82 with registration November 473 Alpha Alpha. It is in the Scissors Eagle livery, and it is a Dragon Wings release, and it was released sometime in 2001. So this is the Dragon Wings mold for the MD-82 and probably 83 and stuff like that. And I don't know if you can see, but this little strake here is in the correct position, and it's molded into the mold, or it's part of the mold, let's just put it that way. Where the next one we're going to look at, it was an added feature like a antenna. So not great, but this is a pretty good mold by Dragon Wings, and I almost wish someone would get a hold of it and do something with it, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Which now leads us to the NG Models version, and their model is supposed to be a McDonnell Douglas MD-83, but an earlier version, because you can see the tail cone here is pointy rather than the flat screwdriver head. So this is an earlier version, and its registration is November 589er Alpha Alpha. It's also wearing the Scissors Eagle livery, and it was a next generation model release in March of 2024. Next, we have the classic Boeing 727-200, more than likely Advance. So there's a Dash 200 and there's a Dash 200 Advance, and I'm not sure if the Advance was off the assembly line or if the Advance was both off the assembly line and converted to Advance, but it actually doesn't say that on the box, I don't think. So I don't know if this is just a regular 200 or a 200 Advance. But anyway, its registration is November 718 Alpha Alpha. And it is a Gemini Jets release from June of 2000. And as you can see, it's wearing the double A or Scissors Eagle livery. And one more for you, another 727-200. This one's registration is November 866 Alpha Alpha. And this one is a 2000 release from Dragon Wings. All right, next on the list is Boeing 737-800. This one's registration is November 838, November. And it's wearing the current livery, but as One World livery. So as you can see, One World written there. And it is an NG release in March of 2022. All right, next up, we have another 737-800. This one's registration is November 951 Alpha Alpha. It is wearing the Lightning Bolt Retro livery in chrome. And it is a Gemini Jets release of April of 2001. So that one looks great. I don't know if it looks that great on camera or not, but it's nice and shiny. I love collecting the chrome versions of these. A lot of times back in the day they would do a chrome version, but they would also just do a polished metal version. And man, the chrome ones are so nice, even though they're not really accurate, because they're usually almost never that shiny. But the polished metal was always a little bit too dull also, because they'd be pretty shiny when they came out of the paint shop or they were brand new. But they weren't ever, I swear, they weren't really ever chrome bright or out of the paint shop or new. So chrome was a little bit too nice, but polished metal was usually not. Polished metal looked more like what the airplane probably looked like, at least after a month of flying. So we'll just leave it at that. All right, here's our next example. I think I pulled the right one. So as you can see, or maybe you can't, I don't know, but this one got the chrome shine on it, so it was the chrome version. And this is also a 737-800. Its fleet registration is November 902 Alpha November. And it's wearing the Scissors Eagle livery, and it is a Gemini Jets release in April of 2001. So they put out, evidently they put out this one normal livery, and then they did the Lightning Bolt one in the same month. So see, Gemini Jets has been known to do that, just like NG is known for it now. All right, so what I was going to say was Gemini Jets even did a regular version and a special livery version back in the day. Glad they don't do that necessarily anymore, because it gives them a chance to do more variety. But anyway, we will be moving on to this aircraft. This aircraft is another 737-800. Its registration is November 903 November, November. And it's got winglets without the logo on it. And it's a next generation model release, and it was released in November of 2022. Alright, I'm a little bit confused as to which one I'm supposed to be on right now. I think it's this one. So this is a Boeing 737-800, and I believe I pulled registration November 306 November Yankee. And this is also wearing the current livery, and it's a next generation models or NG models release as of March 2022. And this one, as you can see, has the logo on the outside and on the inside of the winglet, which evidently I haven't seen too many of these in real life. So I've seen variations. I've seen ones where the winglet doesn't have anything on it. I've seen it where the winglet only has it on the inside. And I've seen this kind. But I don't know what American is, if they have decided they're not going to adopt this or not. But they do at least have one aircraft in their fleet that has the logo on the inside of the winglet and on the outside of the winglet. So this one is a real model or a real airplane, but evidently American hasn't decided that they're going to go completely this way with it. Alright, moving on to our next 737-800. This one's November 9er Alpha November. And it's wearing the AA or Scissors Eagle livery. And it's a release in the year 2001 by Dragon Wings. Alright, another current livery, and this is a 737 MAX 8. Its registration is November 324 Romeo November, and it is a Gemini Jets release as of August 2021. Alright, our next MAX 8 offering is November 338 Romeo Sierra, and it is a next generation models release as of September of 2024. So this is probably one of my most recent pickups for American Airlines, that is. Alright, next we have an A320-200 with just fence tips, and its registration is November 651 Alpha Whiskey, and this is obviously in the current livery, and it's a Gemini Jets release from May of 2020. So I think this is the older one, and it has the really weird color paint on it. but it's still usable and it still looks pretty nice. Oh, and that release evidently had IE engines on it. This one's the CFM 56 engine version. And this one is November 103 Uniform Sierra. And it is also wearing the current livery, and it's a Gemini Jets release more recently in November of 2022. And it also has fence tips, as you can see. Our next one is a little blast from the past. Actually, let me get him closer and come out a little bit. All right, and this one is a Boeing 707-1. It's probably 120 technically, but I just put 100 on here. And its fleet registration was November 7504 Alpha. This one is an Aero Classics release, and it was released sometime in the year 2002, and it's wearing the Astrojet livery. And its nickname is Flagship New York. All right, the next one is a special scheme or special livery of an A321-200 with sharklets, and its registration is November 167 Alpha November, and this one is Flagship Valor, also known as Medal of Honor, and it's an NG release put out in August of 2022. All right, so if you can kind of tell, as you can kind of tell, so this one is a Gemini Jets release also, and this one I'm not sure if it had a chrome version of it, but this is what the polished metal looked like. It looks pretty good, and with like all these Americans that are the older Americans where it's got the shiny metal, bare metal, you got to be really careful with fingerprints, because it really shows off the fingerprints whether it's this polished metal or if it's the chrome. So anyway, this one is a 757-200, November 679er Alpha November, and it's in the Retrojet livery. Wow, why am I having such a hard time saying that? Anyway, it is a Gemini Jets release, and it was released back in March of 2000. So it's released so far back that this is like their first version of the 757. I'm going to just show you if it will. You can see this, the horizontal stabilizer here is a cradle. So both horizontal stabilizers are one piece, and it's glued in there, and so you can see the seam there. So that's how old this one is. It's not even on the second generation mold from Gemini jets. It's on the first. All right, our next 757-200 is November 674 Alpha November. And as you can see, it's in the Scissors Eagle livery. And it is a Gemini Jets release, and it's the chrome version. I'm not sure how well you can tell on the video that that's chrome, but it's very shiny. And it is a January of 2002 release, and sometime in 2002 or 2003, Gemini Jets puts out their second generation 757 mold. This one is still on the first one, as you can see the seam there for the horizontal stabilizer, but it's not so bad. All right, our next one is moving up to the 767-300. This one is November 361 Alpha Alpha, and it's in chrome, and it's in the Scissors Eagle livery, or the double A livery, and it's a Gemini Jets release in September of 2001. Yeah, tough month and year to have a 767 released, I know. But trust me, I had this on order before 9/11 even happened. All right, now after a little bit of adjusting there, we have our next 767-300. This one is November 396 Alpha November, and as you can see, we have this one's wingletted, if that's even a word, wingletted, and with the American.com label there, and it's in the double A livery, or the Scissors Eagle livery, and it is a Phoenix release in 2023. I waited a very long time for this one, and it wasn't even the one I actually wanted, so go figure. Our final 767-300 is November 351 Alpha Alpha, and it's also in the Scissors Eagle livery, or the double A livery, and it is a Dragon Wings release in the year 2000. All right, our next model is a 787-8 in the current livery, which I don't believe the 787-8 has ever worn anything but this livery, but I could be wrong since the Dash 8 is the first version of the 787 to be delivered to airlines. But if it did, it wasn't long. It didn't last long. But I'm pretty sure it probably was in this livery from the get-go, because since there's so many deposit material and stuff, that's kind of why the bare metal look has been abandoned, because it doesn't look the same, and the bodies aren't aluminum anymore, so they don't have that nice shiny look anyway. So anyway, this 787-8 Dreamliner is November 880 Bravo Juliet, and it is a next generation model release in November of 2022. Alright, so here's a fun one. This is McDonnell Douglas MD-11, November 1758 Bravo, and you may or may not be able to tell, it's very chrome, but there's not a lot of detail here, so that is why it's a Dragon Wings. It's a Dragon Wings release, and it was released back in 1999. So believe it or not, this release is older than a lot of the YouTubers who are doing this similar type of video. So this model is older than they are. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And I also have so Panda is evidently going to be debuting a new MD-11 mold, and I have the American one and a Delta Widget one on pre-order, so I'm looking very forward to seeing their mold and see how good it is. It should be fairly excellent. So I do have another American Airlines MD-11 on pre-order from Panda. All right, this one is a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. It is November 825 Alpha Alpha, and this is on the earlier mold that Gemini Jets had, and it was released in October of 2020. The next 787-9 Dreamliner is November 838 Alpha Alpha, and it is obviously wearing the current livery, and it's Aviation 400 release in June of 2024. Sorry about that, cut off the wing. Those wings are really long. Our last and final, well, last and final. Our final 787-9 Dreamliner comes to us from Gemini Jets. It's November 835 Alpha November, and it was released in January of 2023. And now we move on to the 777s. This is a 777-200. And believe it or not, this one does not have a registration number on it. So I'm not sure if Dragon Wings would sometimes put out models without registration numbers on them. Like I have a Korean Air A380 from Dragon Wings, and I believe they put that out before Korean Air actually got an A380, so they just put it out without a registration number, and it might have been the same with this. But there's a lot of unknowns about this model, so there's no registration number, and no one seems to know exactly when it was released by Dragon Wings. It was released by Dragon Wings, and it's in chrome. The Dragon Wings chrome wasn't as good as the Gemini Jets chrome, but this is their version of chrome, and but we do not even know a year of release for this one, nor do we have the registration. But it is in the Scissors Eagle livery, or the AA livery. And that one, like I said, is from Dragon Wings. Our second 222 is November 776 Alpha November, and it is a next generation model release, and it was released in March of 2023, and it's wearing the current livery. And then last but certainly not least, we have my one 333 that I have, 333 ER. It's November 736 Alpha Tango, and it is a Gemini Jets release wearing the current livery, and it was released in June of 2022. Alright, so that does it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed my American Airlines fleet. I hope I got all the sizes right. So I tried to do smallest to largest, and I did my best to at least use passenger capacity to put them in order. But some of that certainly can be argued. Especially the ones where we're trying to do modern aircraft to 60s and 70s aircraft. So, but I feel confident that I wasn't too far off. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like. And if you've seen multiple videos of mine and you are enjoying the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And I always love reading your comments, so please leave a comment in the comment section. And until the next video, happy collecting.